All right, so serious topic time. All right, this video is about grooming and LARP, what grooming is specifically, and what you can do about it as a fellow player and as a LARP organizer. So, first off, grooming is an action taken on by a person who has more agency or power than another person who is somewhat more vulnerable. Usually we think about this in terms of an age difference. So we've got a very young person, let's just say girl. We have a very young girl. We have an older man in his 20s, 30s, doesn't matter, much older. And he begins to take actions to get her to a place where he can engage in some kind of sexual interaction or abusive behavior. So here's what grooming looks like. There's two pieces to it. First, you get your, let's just say victim. You get your victim hooked on a dopamine rush from interactions with you. So this can be flattery, it can be compliments, and things like that. So you get them hooked to some sort of dopamine rush from interactions with you. It's really easy to do in a LARP because we do want those intense emotive interactions based on our characters. It's really easy to do in a LARP because if you have an experienced character, you can bestow things upon people. So again, that's kind of the special avenue to watching out for grooming in LARP, like how that can take place. The other piece of grooming, because just doing nice things for people isn't a problem. Don't get me wrong. The other piece of grooming is boundary pushes. So that can be bringing up sex into a conversation that really didn't need to have sex brought into it. So in my LARP career, I've seen a young lady shared with me screenshots of her interaction with a much older man. She was 17 at the time. She was 19 when I met her. And she was talking to him, 17-year-old girl, about to come to this game, about her character and about what the game was like and what she could expect. He ostensibly contacted her to help her get into the game and to kind of, support her in her efforts to get in the game. But he kept bringing up how attracted to her he was. He kept bringing up sexual content, BDSM content with a 17-year-old girl. It was not okay. So that is how that happens. Boundary pushes can also be non-sexual because they really, at that point, the abuser wants to know, is this person okay with having their boundaries tested? So it can be like, hey, try this curry chicken. No, I don't like curry. No, try it. You're going to love it. It's super good. You have to try it. Not taking no for an answer, even in benign ways, especially if it's repetitive and you see it in concert with that, getting them attracted to the dopamine highs that you're giving out. That's grooming. That's what you're seeing. What we can do about grooming as fellow LARPers, if we see someone whose boundaries are being tested, whether that is because their boundaries are being tested just kind of benignly, it's sort of a normal thing to be like, no, just try this. Like, that happens, right? Or if their boundaries are being tested for more nefarious purposes, and that's just the very small, tiny piece of it that you got to see, it is entirely appropriate to be like, hey, no means no, right? Like, you person who doesn't like curry, you get to say no, okay? The other thing I would do as maybe like a more experienced player, or definitely if I'm on staff, is I would have a conversation with the boundary pusher later in private, and I would be like, hey, I just want you to know I saw this, and this is not an okay thing to be doing at my game, right? Like, I know it's, it's benign, it's just you wanted someone to try something, but you have to be okay. In order for you to be safe to LARP with, you have to be okay when people tell you no. You have to be okay with it. And just be like, yeah, no big deal. So I just want you to have that knowledge and us to have this conversation beforehand. Now, if the boundary push was sexual in nature and it was with a child, that would be a different conversation. That would be a, you are done. Please leave. So yeah, that's what grooming looks like. So remember the two things. In some way, either using the game or using just base complimenting, getting the person into the dopamine rush of interacting with them. And then the other side of it, you have that power difference, right? So usually age, but not always. You have someone power, someone who's vulnerable. That can be age, that can be impairment. And then you also have the piece where they check to see if they can get away with pushing boundaries.